Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United 4, Liverpool 0. If only we got points. I think we hand in this Bangkok Super Century Cup and we give it up for 6 points. You know, I'd take that. But on a serious note, look, there's so much to digest from that. Erik ten Hag's new beginning at Manchester United begins. We're going to go through player ratings. You can do that through the link in the chat. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. We'll go through that in a little bit. But the most important thing for me wasn't actually winning. I said this last night on the 8 o'clock show that if we lose 4-0, people will say we've not bought players and we're going to be shit this season. And if we win 4-0, we're going to win the league. Neither is true. It's pre-season. We were 3-0 up against their B team that will never play next year. And in the second half, we beat their A team 1-0 with a team that we won't play. So the result is nice. But really what's more important is the way we played, the issues we still have, and the starting point to build over the next 2 weeks to be ready in the next 3 weeks to play the season and how we're going to be then. And I think if I was Erik ten... Well, look, first of all, as a fan, what did I think? I was really impressed. I'm going to start with the positives. I was really impressed with the way that, especially in the first half, when Liverpool had the ball, and it was a vulnerable Liverpool defence, let's be honest. The first 2 goals never should have happened. They just didn't clear it. But we pressed really well in the first half. We did. Like, it was led by the high line from the centre-backs. The full-backs were pushing on, and the midfield too did push the front 3 forwards, and we pressed really well. Somebody said, where's the press being forced from? Well, in a Ten Hag system, the press is dictated from McTominay and Fred, from the midfield too, and we did it quite well. The problems did occur when they played through the press because no one got back quick enough and we left a lot of space. But we did play a high line and we did press well. I thought David De Gea played on the edge of his box and his distribution was a lot better than it was last season. I think I'm looking forward to that improving. And obviously we got 3 goals, which were well taken by Sancho and Fred. And I liked Martial's goal because he pressured the defender and he had a lot to do after that. Diagonal run and he took it well. So I think the goals were good. I mean, look, Liverpool had more shots on goal than us. They, in the whole game, they had more shots than goal on us. I think possession was the same. I think they had slightly more passes and we had the same pass accuracy. So we were very equal in that sense. Can we finally start playing Bailly, please, says Yosh. Well, I thought, smash a like on the video. I thought Eric Bailly was man of the match. We'll get to that in a little bit. But so I thought the press was good. I thought the energy and effort was good. And they would be my three big positives. Energy, effort, application, whatever you want to call it. And the way we pressed was good as a team. There was a team ethic, and that was a big step up from last year. Where I think we need to improve, and where I think this is where Erik ten Hag would agree, is that, and he'll probably keep it private because you don't need to say it publicly, he would have wanted in the first half against Liverpool's B team to have had possession above 60% and them around 40%. It ended up being 50-50. He would have wanted to pass the ball more than they played passes, and I think they did more. And he would have wanted our passing accuracy to be good, and it was not as good as theirs. So I think Erik ten Hag's big negative, or constructive, better word, takeaway will be that we didn't get on the ball enough and keep hold of the ball. Now, why didn't we do that? Against Liverpool's B team, why didn't we get on the ball and have more possession and create more chances? Because the goals we scored were all from mistakes. Where's the chances where... And there's nothing wrong with scoring a goal from mistakes. We were very clinical and that's a good sign. But where were the chances I call them clean chances. Where were the clean chances? So the chances where the ball goes from the back to Bruno, who puts it out wide, Sancho puts a cross in and Martial scores. There's no Liverpool mistake. It's just a clean, good attack. And we didn't do that a lot. We didn't have amazing possession and we didn't play as many passes as we could have done. And I think this just comes down to something that we can be really relaxed about. If you drop Frenkie de Jong into that midfield and take Scott McTominay out of that team, I think suddenly you can transition from defence to attack. I actually don't think Fred played that bad. And I think I just think take McTominay out and put de Jong in and we'd have had a different United. We just failed to have the possession we would like to have, and we failed to create the chances we would like to have created. And we failed to control the ball like we would like to do because we just didn't link the defence to the attack. Bruno had a very quiet game. Martial had a very quiet game apart from the goal. Sancho did bits when he got it, but Rashford was quiet because we didn't get the ball forward enough, because we didn't link the defence from the attack. The defence played well. The midfield just didn't and can't link the defence to the attack. There was a lot of time where Varane and Lindelof had the ball and they had to either hit it long or go back to De Gea, because, and Fred did start to clock on and started coming deep to get the ball, but McTominay just never did. So I think that what we need to do is get this deal for Frankie de Jong done ASAP. Erik ten Hag has spoken about this. He spoke about it in his press conference yesterday. We need to improve that midfield. We really, really do. Now, Mello says, in relation to Charlie Savage, he was class. Mello, look, the second half for me, I thought Donny was invisible as well. Donny van der Beek was invisible in the second half, probably for the same reasons that Bruno was invisible in the first half. So I would agree with you there. In the second half, it was, let's play our first team in the first half. And in the second half, we basically put out our reserves. And they ended up finding themselves in a position where for half an hour, our reserves were playing like against Liverpool's best team. So I thought Iqbal and Savage deserve a massive shout out, because whatever their future is in football or at Manchester United, the experience and the way they played, they didn't put a foot wrong. Now, I'm not saying they played brilliantly, but they didn't put a foot wrong. And to be thrown into that situation, playing against people like Thiago, Fabinho and Naby Keita, I thought they did really well, and they deserve a massive shout out. And for me, the first half we've spoken about. Second half, I can't talk about possession. I can't talk about pressing. I can't talk about anything like that, because the second half was basically reserves and youth players playing against a strong Liverpool side and trying to maintain the result. And they actually won it 1-0. So I thought they did really well in the second half. It was backs to the wall. It was very difficult to get on the ball and control the ball. And that's why I think Eric Bailly played really well. He really did. Erik ten Hag has just said we made a lot of mistakes in post-match to MUTV, says Druv. I'm not surprised by that. Because I'm starting to know what Erik ten Hag's about, and I think you lot are starting to know what he's all about as well. And as I said, if you go back and look at the stats, it's around 50-50 possession. They had more shots on goal than us. The passing accuracy is around the same, and I think they played slightly more passes. I'm telling you now, if you want to know what Erik ten Hag's all about, he's not about winning the game 4-0 like that. He's about, did we do the things I want to do in the way I want to play? And we didn't have enough possession, we didn't control the ball enough, and we didn't create enough chances. And that's the things that he'll be focusing on, because he'll know if we play like that every game next season, we will lose a lot of games, because Liverpool might not hit the post twice. So we need to work to control the game. We didn't control the game enough today, but it's a first game and it's a positive. And the way we're going to control the game is by solving the midfield issue, because McTominay's going to be a useful bench player in my opinion, but we can't start with McTominay and Fred next season. We will never link the attack. I'm starting to realise it, and I think everybody else knows it. The reason Ronaldo, Cavani, Martial, Rashford, Sancho, Bruno sometimes are in a graveyard shift and don't get the ball is because we can't link the defence to the attack. And we can't link the defence to the attack because McTominay and Fred can't link the defence to the attack. We need to get De Jong in ASAP. Used to be pre-season Pirlo, now it's pre-season Maldini. Jokes aside, good performance, young lads had good minutes and looked good, says Jordan. Thank you very much for the super chat there. Make sure you smash a like on the video, because we have just beat Liverpool 4-0. We're going to do the player ratings in a minute. I'm looking forward to doing that. But I just want to go through a couple of things before we get to that, because you can still learn a lot. And I was very excited to looking at this game. And I would say, if you have been at work today or school today, you can really condense this game down to the first half. I wouldn't watch the second half. I really wouldn't. It was great. If you want to watch Charlie Savage and Zidane Iqbal play in the midfield and Eric Bailly heroics, do. But really, going forward, as a United team with Ten Hag as the manager, it's the first team in the first half you've got to look at. And I was excited about it. As I said, possession wasn't good enough. Linking the back to the front wasn't good enough. The finishing was good. The press was good. And did we see a brand new United? No. Did we see hints of a brand new United? Yes. I'm happy with where we are today, because I would have been absolutely stunned if I'd have seen United playing like prime Ajax today. But I'd have been absolutely devastated if I'd seen Man United playing like Ollie's United last year. I think we are on a journey to playing a brand of football that Erik ten Hag wants us to play. And I think that journey started today. And there's still lots and lots of things to sort out. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a step forward. And I'm looking forward to where we go from here. Because if I'm honest, I don't recognise that as where we're going to be next season. I expect to see United not around 50% possession, around 70% possession. I expect to see United having 10 shots and more. I expect us to have a much higher pass accuracy than 85%. I expect us to be playing way more passes than the opposition. And these are the things that you learn when you know what Erik ten Hag is all about. So, yeah, that's what I would say about that. It's a good start, like Rovo says. I want to just give a shout out to Eric Bailly because we're going to do the player ratings now, and there's a lot to go through, and it will sort of give you an insight into how everybody played. But Eric Bailly would be my man of the match. Little Games says man of the match. I would have gone with Eric Bailly because it was a harder game to play in the second half. I think Donny van der Beek would have had a better game if he'd played in the first half next to Fred. He ended up playing as a number 10 in a team that couldn't attack. So Donny was invisible. But Eric Bailly was very busy. And we didn't play a high line like we did in the first half because we just couldn't get out. And Eric Bailly was blocking, last-ditch tackles. Eric Bailly was Eric Bailly. The positive about Eric Bailly to me today was that surely a club will look at Eric Bailly and go, he can do a really good job for us and give us some money. Because I like Eric Bailly. I've spent time on this channel over the last few years saying he should be starting for United. He should be starting for United. I think we're past that now. Like, we've got Varane, Maguire and Lindelof and hopefully Lisandro Martinez. Where does Eric Bailly fit into that? He can't just be sitting on the bench or worse again. Eric Bailly quite clearly deserves to play first team football. And many of us have been saying this for a very long time. He's never going to be the first team choice centre-back because Maguire's the captain, Varane is world class, Lisandro Martinez is going to cost us about 50 million. So he's not going to be first choice. He needs to be sold. And on today's performance, he's shown exactly why he should be sold. So I'm really pleased for Eric Bailly because I think he's put himself in the shop window. And if United cannot find a buyer for him now, or his agent cannot find a buyer for him now, there's something seriously wrong in football because he would be a really valuable centre-back for an Everton. He would be a really valuable centre-back for a decent La Liga club. He's never going to play for Barcelona and Real Madrid. He's never going to play for PSG, and he's never going to play for Man United as a starting centre-back. That ship has sailed. But for me, he was man of the match today because he did everything right. And if you're a team that's going to do a lot of defending, Eric Bailly is a really good centre-back. Mark, if Eric can pull this team together, is it possible other teams could underestimate us thinking we're a mess, especially if we get Martinez and Anthony, says Shane? I don't think anybody ever underestimates Man United. I mean, I don't think Liverpool come to Old Trafford and think, oh, this is going to be a walk in the park. It might end up being a walk in the park like last year, but we'll always have respect because of who we are. I don't think anyone's going to underestimate us at all, which is why we need to be ready. Do we know where Garner was today, says Josh? I don't know whether I'm just mixing up rumours, but I'm pretty sure we knew Garner wasn't playing today. I don't know what the injury is. Jeff says, did you see Nunez? I'm so thankful we didn't waste 100 million on him. Couldn't score a sitter and his touches were crap. What do you think? I think, Jeff, as much as I'd love to go, yeah, Jeff, give me a high five, you're absolutely correct. I've got to say, I would take Darwin Nunez in a heartbeat. I wanted Darwin Nunez to come to Manchester United. And yeah, I would take him in a heartbeat. I mean, look, he's missed a sitter in a pre-season friendly that doesn't actually mean anything. I would love Darwin Nunez to have come to Manchester United. I thought Salah looked very average. I thought Trent and Robertson looked average. These are players that are playing their first few minutes of the pre-season. Like, I don't think that I wouldn't be surprised if Darwin Nunez scored a hat-trick against us at Old Trafford next month. So I'm not going to say anything negative about Darwin Nunez. I think he will be a good signing, and I would have liked United to sign him. So I think it's very dangerous to start saying he's a flop and everything after 30 minutes in a pre-season game. But he should have scored. He should have scored. Glory, glory, Man United, says King. Thank you very much. And Zidane Iqbal deserves a shout-out. But I think Charlie Savage deserves a shout-out as well. Nice to see Pelestri score in the second half. He took it well. I thought Ahmad and Alanga and Donny were in a very, very difficult situation. Right, let's get on with the player ratings. You can do yours through the link in the description if you want to. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. David De Gea for me. Okay, I'm going to enjoy this. So what would I give David De Gea? I'd like to give him a 7.5, but I'll give him a 7. Yay! Well done, chat. Yes, I'd give him a 7.5. I can't do it. I have to go 7 or 8, so I always go below what it should be. I would give David De Gea a 7.5. I think there are going to be some players that get a 7 and he deserves a higher score. So I would give David De Gea a 7.5. So well done everybody who's voted on that. You can vote through the link in the description, or you can go to unitedstand.com and catch me up. So I liked David De Gea's normal. He made some good shot saves. I liked his communication with his back four. I liked the fact that he was playing more on the edge of the box. I liked the fact that he was a sweeper keeper a couple of times. And I liked the improvement in his distribution. There was still one or two bad ones. But we're going from a goalkeeper that wasn't used like this at all for 3 years to a goalkeeper that's going to be used like this. And, David De Gea is always going to be a player that's going to make good saves. But look, whatever my reputation's worth, I don't really care. But I've said this before. We're going to see a massive improvement in David De Gea this year. And all these fans who want to get these stats out about distribution, coming for crosses and all this, it's going to change this year. And he's going to be a lot better in them areas. This is just the first step. Dalot, for me, look, Dalot was a little bit disappointing when Diaz ran at him. I'd give him a steady 7. I thought he got better as the game went on. My concern with Dalot is this. I feel that Dalot is a backup right back for a top 4 team. I'm not convinced that Dalot is a first choice right back for a top 4 team. He's definitely levels above Wan-Bissaka, but he has got vulnerabilities. Now, whether Dalot is going to be worked on by Ten Hag, we hope so, but I still think he'll buy a right back if he can move Wan-Bissaka on. But no, he did all right. Varane for me would be a 7.5. I thought Varane was steady in that first half, made no mistakes, looked like our best centre-back, so I'd give him a 7.5. I just really, really hope he can stay fit. So 7.5 for Varane, and then therefore I'd give Lindelof a 7. I thought Lindelof and Varane did really well at pushing that defensive line forward, because you can't press. The midfield can't push on and press if the defensive line's not pushed up to the halfway line. So I think I've said this so many times and I'll say it again. I think Varane and Lindelof are a better centre-back pairing than Varane and Maguire. I said it all of last season. I know there were some bad games, but I think Lindelof and Varane complement each other a lot better than Varane and Maguire. But I'd give him a 7 for that. Luke Shaw, again, a steady 7 as well. I mean, look, there are people in this fan base who just don't like Luke Shaw. They're not going to give him any credit. You've given him 6.2. I thought Luke Shaw was a 7. I thought everybody in the back four was a 7, apart from Varane and De Gea, who I'd give a little bit more to 7.5. Fred, steady 7 for me as well. The goal was really well taken. His energy and effort, you can never doubt. I think the first 15-20 minutes, he was making the same mistake as McTominay. He wasn't coming to get the ball off the back four. But then he started to do it, and it's not really his job. Look, Fred's never going to take the ball off the back four and dictate the play. But he saw McTominay wasn't doing it, and he tried to do it. I thought the midfield was a weakness in the game today, because it didn't allow us to get the possession stats up because we couldn't transition. But Fred did try, and he scored a very good goal. So I would give him a 7. McTominay for me, just a 6. I mean, I don't want to give anybody low marks on a pre-season game, but he was. There was 1 or 2 good passes from McTominay, but again, he's hiding. He's not wanting to take the ball off from the back four. There was one point where the ball went to Varane or Lindelof, and he ran to the halfway line, but Liverpool were running towards the defence, and I'm like, they're pressing your defence and you're running away. You should be there taking the ball off them. So he just cannot grasp the role of a CDM, which is to take the ball off the back four and dictate the play, which is why we desperately need Frenkie de Jong. Bruno, again, I'd give him a 6. I thought he was very, very quiet. I know he had a say in the Sancho goal, but it was a defensive mistake. And I think Bruno suffered because we didn't transition from back to front very well. The same reason that Donny suffered in the second half. So I would give Bruno a 6. It was a quiet game for Bruno. But what I would say for Bruno, when on the few rare occasions that he did get the ball, he was a lot more careful with the ball. There was less of these Hollywood passes and more about trying to make passes. In fact, the second goal he tried to play in Martial. I think that led to the confusion in the defence that allowed Fred to score. So he was trying to simplify it a little bit more. Jadon Sancho, his goal was fantastic. I'd give him an 8. 7.8 from you. Yeah, I don't disagree. The goal was really well taken by Jadon Sancho, and he should have had an assist. He should have had an assist as well. He got down the right-hand side. Martial took the defender away. He put a lovely cross into Rashford. In fact, the cross was so good that Rashford decided to take it first time. He should have scored. but he could have took a touch as well. So I thought Sancho was really good, and very, very impressed with Sancho, and I think he's going to be a fundamental player in this Erik ten Hag era. Rashford 6 for me, a bit like McTominay, a bit like Bruno. The game just slipped away from him a little bit. Understandable that because again we didn't transition the ball from back to front enough, but he should have scored that chance. And look, Rashford's got a lot of work to do this season. It was a decent first game for him, but it was nothing, no rocket science, I suppose. And Martial, I give him a steady 7. Yeah, I mean, look, again, I think he suffered from not being in the game much. There wasn't, I mean, he didn't have a single chance created for him. He created it himself. That's not good enough. And I think Ten Hag would say that. We're playing against Liverpool's B team and we created no chances for our number 9. We've got to be creating chances for our striker. But he did create a chance himself. He pressed the defender. He still had a lot of running to do. He showed pace, control and clinical finishing. So I think Martial can be very happy with his performance today because he was living off scraps. But he found a scrap and he took it. So well done to him. Malacia... Difficult game. I'd probably give him a 6.5. Yes, I agree. I'd give him a 6.5. I think he was trying a lot. It's his debut. Well, it's not his proper debut, but it's his first game in a United shirt. I think the first 10 minutes he was a little bit trying too hard, and then he settled into the game. So I thought it was a reasonable first few minutes for him. Mark, why don't you back Bailly? He has the highest ceiling out of all our defenders. He could be a top defender when given the chance. We need to use him, says Prince. Because I'm bored, Prince, to be honest. I'm bored of it. I'm bored of talking about Eric Bailly. Like I've wanted Eric Bailly to play for so long. So long I've been saying it shouldn't be Lindelof and Maguire, it should be Bailly. And he never got the opportunity. And when he played well and then he'd get dropped. It's time to sell Eric Bailly. Like Varane is better. Maguire is the captain. And we're signing another centre-back. I just think Eric Bailly cannot sit on the bench anymore. And we cannot go through another season going he deserves to play and start. He's never going to get picked by Erik ten Hag because his ball distribution is not good enough. He's not a ball-playing centre-back. So he would just spend another season sat on the bench. And now, if Erik ten Hag came out and said, Eric Bailly is my centre-back, I'm going to start with him, let's go, let's move. But it's not going to happen. So I think we need to sell Eric Bailly and move on because he should have had more games in the past, but it's just not going to happen, is it? And therefore, I think it's just time to move on from that. And anybody who's saying that Eric Bailly will get a chance, how is that going to work? We're spending £50 million on Lisandro Martinez. We've got Raphael Varane, Harry Maguire is the captain, and Lindelof, and you want to keep Eric Bailly as well. We can't have 5 centre-backs. So if you want to keep Eric Bailly, let's not sign Lisandro Martinez, who will be the only left-footed ball-playing centre-back we've got. We've got to sign Lisandro Martinez, and we're not going to sell Varane, Maguire or Lindelof. So for me, I love Eric Bailly. I think he's deserved chances. He's got every right to be frustrated. But it's time to sell, isn't it? Because there's just not a path for him to the first team anymore. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 6 for me. Looks like a player who knows he's for sale. I don't know why he's on the tour, really. He doesn't look like a player that believes he's got a future at this club. If you contrast his performance with Dalot, it was just completely different. So, yeah, I don't think Wan-Bissaka had a very good game. Bailly, for me, was an 8, and I would give him star man of the match. So I'm going to vote for Bailly as my man of the match. I mean, I've spoken about him already. I thought he played really, really well. I think when you're defending and you're up against it, he's brilliant. I think when you're playing on the halfway line and you're dictating the play, I don't think that's his strength. But yeah, I've said everything I want to say about Eric Bailly, but he would be my man of the match. Tellez, you know, Eric Bailly was very busy. Why is Alex Tellez playing as a left-sided centre-back? Because we haven't signed Lisandro Martinez. Iqbal, 7 for me. Young lads thrown in. You know, we've got no midfield. I really want to highlight this as well. When we're talking about Charlie Savage and Zidane Iqbal, who we're going to be talking about now, we literally, and this is a really big point, we literally had McTominay and Fred, and that's it. People were moaning about McFred starting. Donny came on as a 10. So we only had 2 midfielders to play in the 6 and 8 role. We don't just need De Jong, we need Tielemans as well. Like, if I'm Richard Arnold and I'm John Murtaugh and I'm watching that game, we need De Jong and Tielemans. Donny is not clearly going to be a midfield 2 player, because if he's not playing Donny in a midfield 2 and he's playing Savage and Iqbal, like, he clearly doesn't think that Donny's going to play as a midfield 2. So That might change, of course. That's a little bit sensationalist to say that. But we played Savage and Iqbal in the second half because after McTominay and Fred, we've got no one. Matic and Pogba have gone. You can't replace 2 with 1. Now, some will say Garner. Yeah, it would have been nice to see Garner play. But what if Garner's not ready? We need 2 midfielders. Everybody knows we need 2 midfielders. We need De Jong and we need Tielemans. That's what we need. Or we need De Jong and Sangare. Or we need De Jong and Lema. We need 2. Papers given McTominay a 7. Fans here 5.3, says Robert. Mate, Robert, I know you're a fan of McTominay, but I'd like you to tell us what he did well in that game. Like, he was hiding again. We factually did not create chances for our forwards. Why was that? We factually did not control possession. Why was that? We factually did not transition from defence to attack. Why was that? Midfield. The midfield didn't play well in the first half. And, you know, people can give McTominay a 7, but they don't understand football. You know, you can't, you know, we've won 4-0, so everyone gets a 7 out of 10, basically. This is what some journalists are like. They don't analyse the game. We won 4-0. It's a good result. But Ten Hag himself said we made loads of mistakes. And we didn't have a high possession. And we didn't transition from back to front. So, look, I stand by what I gave McTominay, which is a 6. There's no way he was a 7. This is the problem, guys. Bay is crap. It's a pre-season game. Our best pre-season player of the past few years just went to Fulham, says Sean Turner. De Jong done, says Tom. Is it really? Is it really done? I mean, I've not had any messages. Let's have a look. Who's saying it's done? I can't see anything about it. I can't see anything about De Jong. Let's have a look. Trolls, it's just trolls. How about we go for Tielemans and Lema and forget Frankie? We're not going to do that, Arjan. We're not going to do that. Right, okay, go. So, yeah, Iqbal for me, 7 out of 10. Thrown in at the deep end. We've got nothing beyond McTominay and Fred. We need to buy 2 midfielders. So we're chucking on 2 young lads who play half an hour against Fabinho and Thiago and Naby Keita. They didn't put a foot wrong. And this is why, with young players, you've always got to have their back because they're just starting out their journey. Now, Iqbal and Savage probably won't ever play for Man United's first team consistently. Hopefully they will do, but they probably never will. It's so hard to do that. But the way that they played today and thrown into that environment will be fantastic for their careers no matter where they end up. The experience, absolutely fantastic. And I wouldn't differentiate between the two. I'd give them both a 7. I thought they both did well. Donny 6 for me, so he's down there. I was disappointed with Donny. I was really disappointed with Donny. I thought that he just didn't suit that position. I know he didn't get a lot of the ball, but he looked way off the pace. You know, that reminded me of Donny sometimes when he was thrown on by Solskjaer. But it is pre-season. And what I would say about Donny is that if he can't make it with Ten Hag, he can't make it. Like, if he doesn't make it at Man United, he ain't making it anywhere in the Premier League. So Ten Hag basically made Van der Beek. If he can't get into the team, then, you know, he can't make it work. De Jong's not done, by the way. It's just twats in the chat. Also, Alanga, yeah, 6 for me. I think it was a very difficult game for the front three in the second half because it was a bit backs to the wall. We were the massive underdogs in the second half. So, yeah, I'd give Alanga a 6. Palestri, I mean, I'd give him a 6.5 because he scored a goal. I don't think he did anything different to Alanga. The chance just fell to him. Love having a tracksuit manager on the sideline, says Muir. Hoping to see United play more exciting football, but also being able to adapt to oppositional tactics. Thank you very much for the super chat there. And that leaves us with Ahmad and Tom Heaton. And Ten Hag. Good. Okay, so Ahmad, 6. Yeah, I mean, a lot can happen on pre-season, but I think with someone like Ahmad, you're looking at a loan deal. He's just nowhere near being ready, is he, at the moment? Absolutely nowhere near being ready for Manchester United first team. The thing about Ahmad that gives me hope is that he's left-footed, and maybe if you didn't sign Anthony, you could use him, but he ain't ready for the first team at the moment. We need to find him a really good loan, and it's going to be a really interesting season for him. I know Rangers was a bit hit and miss, but Ahmad's not ready yet. I just don't think he's ready. And also, in fairness, he's not a number 9. And again, as we said with Iqbal and Savage, you take out McTominay and Fred and we're playing Iqbal and Savage. You take out Martial and we're playing Ahmad up front. Like, that's not because Garner's injured. Like, we actually do not have a player that is able to play up front other than Anthony Martial at the moment. Rashford's not a centre forward. So anybody who's saying that we don't miss Ronaldo, we bloody well do, because we have no other striker. Like, there's nobody else in the team who can play up front apart from Anthony Martial at the moment. So whereas Liverpool could play, and I don't know whether you noticed this, you probably did, Liverpool played a different 10 every half an hour. 30 minutes, 60 minutes, they changed it. We couldn't even change our team at half time and put a striker on the pitch. So this team is really sparse in the midfield and up front. And we need to solve that really quickly because, yeah, Elanga can come on, but really our front three is Martial, Sancho and Rashford, and then we're screwed. Like, we've got young players basically. It's Rashford, Sancho, Martial, Ronaldo if he stays. We are short up front. We are going to be short. And look, Rashford, Sancho and Martial are not going to play 60 games. At least one of them is going to get injured. At least one of them is going to have a bad period. So we need to buy Anthony and we need to keep Ronaldo. And we need to buy De Jong and we need to buy another midfielder because it's becoming very, very clear that we're really short in the centre midfield and we're really short up front. Mark, how are Barca throwing 60 million at Rafinha when they're so financially crippled? Is this Frankie de Jong getting closer, says Simon? And why did we play with Ollie tactics? We didn't play with Ollie tactics, Petter. What's happening is Ten Hag is trying to play with his tactics, but it's not. It's going to take time. Tom Heaton made one good save. He was only on for 20 minutes, so I'll give him a 6. Eric Ten Hag today. Look, I think most of the team got a 7. I think it'd be fair to give Eric Ten Hag a 7. I think most people have gone over the top, which I'm absolutely fine about. It depends what you want to, whether you're giving him the score on his commitment and his managerial skills, or you're giving him the score on the way the team played. I agree with you. You can give him 8 if you want to give him on how he performed on the pitch and the shouting and the instructions and his demands. Yeah, I'd give him an 8 for that. But in relation to the way the team performed, I'd give it a steady 7. I think it was good. He's got a lot more work to do. We need to control the ball better. We need to create more chances. We need to be more accurate in our passing. We need to transition better from back to front. But he knows all these things. And I think for a first game, it was really good. Let's see who your man of the match was then. Submit your vote. So Eric Bailly with 57% of the vote. Smash a like on the video for Eric Bailly. 57% of the vote. And look, Sancho was second with 27. So there you go. Sancho in at second place. But Eric Bailly winning it. I agree with that. I really, really do. And I think it was a good performance. As Seb walks through. How you doing, Seb? All right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay. Well, look, it's been a long afternoon, but it's been an enjoyable afternoon. We've got the next game, which is Melbourne Victory, which I think is on Friday morning. But it's a big victory for Manchester United against Liverpool. We won't be getting carried away, but there was a lot of positives. A lot of work to still be done. I think the big takeaway for me is we desperately need to sign some midfielders and we desperately need to buy an attacker because we are short in both areas and they are fundamental areas to winning games. You've got to transition from the defence to the attack and then you've got to score those chances. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I'm back at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock show tonight. So we'll be talking about all the latest transfer stuff at 8 o'clock because I think whilst we're on pre-season tour and it's nice to watch games and nice to watch the development, in the background, we still need to be full throttle on signings, don't we? So let's see, wait and see what happens. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. We'll have Adam's match reaction from the stadium coming up very soon as well. And I think we're going to get some vlogs up for you as well. And I'll be back at 8 with all the latest transfer news. Thank you very much for watching and I'll speak to you all in a bit. Take care.